Okay, so Liz, let me know when we think most everybody's through the virtual door.
Yeah, it looks like we got about 25 people in there now. We could start, and I'm sure people will be coming in.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us again for the 48th Annual and Second Virtual Environmental Congress. We welcome you to join us in the conversation about these sessions. On Twitter, our account is @AnJackTweets. We're using #EnviroCongress. All of these sessions are being recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel, AnJack Views. All of those who registered for the Environmental Congress will be sent the links for those videos, and we encourage you to share them with your Environmental Commission and anyone else who you would like. So another note, as you can see, if you've attended some of the earlier sessions this week, we were running those a little bit differently. So we can see people now if you have your camera on, and we would be able to hear you if you unmute yourself. We're going to ask everybody to remain muted right now and just be aware of the fact that if your camera is on, we can see you. And we're doing that because we're going to have a breakout session later. And so that's a little bit different about this session, the way this session's running other than the earlier ones. A few other technical notes. If you have questions for our speaker this afternoon, please use the Q&A option at the bottom of the screen. If you're having technical difficulties, you can go ahead and use the chat and we can try to troubleshoot those with you. If you're having irreparable technical challenges, then you can go ahead and call our Deputy Director, Elizabeth Ritter. That's her phone number there. And again, all sessions are being recorded. And if you have your camera on now, we can see you. So just be aware of that. I'd like to thank our gold, silver, and bronze sponsors for their support of Environmental Congress and for support of much of AnJack's work, making our staff available to you, making our resources available to you, and bringing you trainings all year long. I'd also like to thank our additional business supporters and of course our foundations who support us all year long, that make our small grants program possible, make the AnJack Report, AnJack News, and other services that we provide to you possible. I'd also like to thank our Congress co-sponsors. Without them, without these nonprofits and statewide agencies, we could not have Environmental Congress, and we really wouldn't want to. They are bringing their expertise, their time to you. We appreciate coordinating with them year-round to advance protection and restoration of natural resources and helping municipalities make good decisions about the environment for their community. So thank you, thank you, thank you to all of our co-sponsors. I'd also like to thank you for being here. And as we move towards the end of your giving, ask you to please consider AnJack if you are able to make a gift. We do not receive any state funding and we rely on support from environmental commissions, corporations, foundations, and people like you who care about the environment, natural resources, and the health of your community. So thank you for considering us. And I don't think this session is available for CEUs, is it, Liz?
It certainly is, actually.
Oh, it is. Okay, that's a great surprise to me. So today's session is eligible for New Jersey Community Forest continuing education credits. If you would like to receive credits, CEUs, for the New Jersey Community Forestry Program, go ahead and use the chat function at the bottom of your Zoom. Type your name, your municipality, and the letter CEU, and we will keep track of that and report you as attending this session so that you will be able to receive credit for those CEUs. Again, if you need CEUs for New Jersey Community Forestry, go ahead and use the chat, type your name, your municipality, and the letter CEU. Thank you. And it is my great pleasure to welcome Samantha Amado. Did I say that right? Let's see. Liz
Adamo, you were close.
Adamo, okay.
It's always
Sorry
hard
about that. Samantha Adamo, to talk to us today about social media and networking. And our Deputy Director, Elizabeth Ritter, is going to give a formal introduction to Sam.
Hi, welcome. everybody. I'm happy to introduce Samantha Damo, especially because she's so awesome as she's my niece. So Samantha is a social media assistant at the New Jersey League of Conservation Voters and Conservation Voters of Pennsylvania. Samantha is currently pursuing her Master's of Sustainability Leadership degree at Arizona State University. She graduated from the University of Connecticut School of Business in 2019, where she majored in marketing with concentration in digital marketing and analytics and minored in psychology. Welcome, Samantha.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Let me just share my screen. Okay, hi everybody. I'm so happy to be here. I'm Sam from New Jersey LCV, and I'll be talking to you today about social media tools and engagement basics. So here we have the agenda for today. I will be covering the basics of social media, starting with the strengths and weaknesses of each platform. So I'm going to go over Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and then when it is best to use each of these. And I'll also explain how I'll cover the planning and coordination of your posts, as well as how to reach your intended audience and how to get them to engage with your content. Okay, so first we're going to dive into Facebook. So Facebook is really useful because it's the most used platform overall. With 2.7 billion active users, even your organic content is likely to get a lot of users to see it, which is always the point. So you'll have the ability to also create paid ads on Facebook, which allows you to expand your reach even farther. Or you can target a certain segment, like donors, for example, that you'd like to see a specific advertisement or specific post that you're posting. During the pandemic, actually, revenue from Facebook ads has been up since many people have been using Facebook even more often and spending more money online. So Facebook is a great platform to post links to events, articles, videos, etc. Because the link preview will actually automatically populate when you add the link while creating a new post. So these previews are really eye-catching and they're a great way to garner engagement. People are also on Facebook very, very often over 13 times a day on average, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. And this means that there's a really good chance for more eyeballs on your posts. So of course, there are always weaknesses. And so the major weaknesses of Facebook is that in recent years, some of the younger audience has moved away from the platform, favoring different apps like Instagram or TikTok instead. Facebook's also notorious for fast scrolling. The average person actually only watches a Facebook video for about 10 seconds. So don't expect your 10-minute video to maybe be played all the way in full by most of your viewers. It's just something to keep in mind and to make your initial post really eye-catching so that you keep those viewers' attention. And next, we'll review Instagram quickly. So the strengths of Instagram, as I mentioned before, is that it has a younger and a more diverse audience. So if you're someone who's targeting that kind of audience, then this is a great platform to utilize. Instagram is also the second largest platform, so you should be able to reach a really large amount of users here as well. And the best type of content for Instagram is photos and videos. There are many, many different ways to display your photos and videos on Instagram, which a lot of the different video options are catered to short attention spans, which is great, as I mentioned. So these different video options include Reels, which are 15-second video clips that you can add music and graphics to. There's also your Instagram video feed, which can be up to 60 seconds. And then there's also Instagram TV, which you can post a video that is up to 60 minutes. So you have a lot of options. And you can also use your Instagram stories and highlights, which are two other features, to post your new content. And so the use of all these different features is really just some great options to diversify and freshen up your content to your audience. Again, so it's new and exciting, and it really catches their eye and gets people to really want to engage with your content. And then for weaknesses, While Instagram is still large, it does have less users than Facebook, so that's always something to think about. And then while photos and videos are really great for this platform, as I mentioned, including links isn't. So if it's something that you're posting a link to for like a sign up page or a petition or something like that, Instagram actually doesn't recognize your links when you post them in the caption. So if you'd like to link to something, you can actually post it in your bio, or you can use a different third-party website like Linktree, for example. And then since many people are looking for purely media content on Instagram, you might be less likely to stop it. They might be less likely to stop and read your caption. So the next platform we'll go over is Twitter. Unlike Facebook and Instagram, Twitter is more of a middle ground for age demographics. So there's a wider breadth of users, which is great. Twitter is really best for concise, straightforward posts like highlights on breaking news and quick discussions of events. Legislators, reporters, and other writers and academics and several other key audiences really exist on Facebook and Twitter, and are really there to engage. Twitter also has a slightly higher educated demographic on average. So the weaknesses of Twitter is that it has a smaller audience compared to Facebook and Instagram, so you likely won't get as big of a reach. However, if your target audience resides mostly on Twitter, then this might not be so bad. Another weakness is that being concise is great, but it can also be really, really difficult. And Twitter only allows you 280 characters to say what you'd like to say. But a quick fix to get around this is by creating a thread of tweets that you string together. And the way you do that is you just make a tweet and then you click reply and you make another tweet, as many as you want. And in that way, when someone clicks on one, all of them show up. Lastly, people spend less time on Twitter than they do on Facebook and Instagram. They actually spend less than 4 minutes a day on average. So that's another reason just to try to make your content as eye-catching as possible. And then another quick fix to this, a little hack, is that adding an image to any of your tweets actually gets people to pay attention more and gets promoted more by the algorithm on Twitter. So use an image. It doesn't have to be a great image. It still will get promoted more. Lastly, I'm going to briefly just talk about LinkedIn. LinkedIn users tend to be higher educated and a higher earning demographic. And so this can be really great for a donor base, for example. LinkedIn is heavily a business to business audience, which reflects well in running things like campaigns for other businesses. And then LinkedIn is really best for posting news articles and job openings, and generally just for remaining up to date on most topics. Posting regularly on LinkedIn actually just builds your credibility to other organizations and to your audience. So that's one reason that you might want to use LinkedIn. As far as weaknesses, LinkedIn has the smallest number of users. However, you're probably not using this platform to reach so many users, but instead to build your credibility for your brand, like I mentioned. So that's really okay. And then lastly, about 63% of LinkedIn users only actually access the platform once a month. So again, just something to keep in mind when you're picking which platform to post. So now we're going to go over how to plan and coordinate your posts across all of your different platforms, right, that we mentioned. So scheduling posts can be done within each platform, but it's a slightly different process for each of the platforms. So I'll actually show you some examples of scheduling in platform after this slide. So you can also use different tools and websites to schedule your posts outside of the actual platform. These tools include things like Hootsuite, Buffer, and Friends and Me. All of these different tools have their different pros and cons. Some of them are free, some of them you have to pay for. We at NJLCV use Hootsuite, which is a free option, and it's a great way to schedule posts easily. How often you're posting content to your pages can make a really big difference in your engagement. And then the other thing that I would want to note is that consistency is actually more important than the sheer number of posts. So if you can only realistically post on Instagram about once a week, stick to that and have that be when you post. This primes your audience to actually expect a post from you around that time every week, which is better than just posting sporadically all through the week. So here is the examples of how you can actually schedule your different posts. So the top picture is on Twitter. When you create a new tweet, you can see that there's a small calendar button on the bottom left, which says schedule. So if you hover over it, it will say schedule. So from there, you can actually pick the day and the time that you'd like to post your post to be published. So that's a quick and easy way to schedule a post on Twitter. To the right is Facebook Creator Studio. When you click on to create a post in Facebook, this box will pop up. You can schedule the post by pressing Share Now on the bottom right, and then pressing the Schedule button, which will then allow you to pick when and how to publish your content. You can even decide if you want to publish it right to your newsfeed or to a group you belong to. And then the bottom left picture shows how easily you can schedule your posts on Hootsuite. Again, they give you like a calendar right there. You can pick your date, you can pick your time. It'll actually show you an example of what that post is going to look like. And then you just hit the schedule button. So these tools can make it really, really easy to schedule your posts. So if you don't have access to tools that provide you with optimal post timings, because some tools do, then you can always figure out when generally is the best time to post online. So these graphs here, these are actually from Sprout Social, but you can find these anywhere. You can really just Google optimal time on Facebook or whichever platform. But so these graphs specifically show when the highest engagement is, and you can see that in general, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. is usually the highest engagement across all platforms. So again, something to keep in mind when you're deciding when to schedule your posts. So how do you actually coordinate your social posts across all of these different platforms? Again, using tools like Hootsuite, you can actually schedule a post to be published on multiple different platforms at the same time. So you might want to slightly alter your post though. For example, you might want to add in hashtags for Twitter since they're used more on Twitter. And you might want to remove links or add a photo if you're posting on Instagram instead. But so a really easy way to do this, instead of selecting post now in an app like Hootsuite, which is what is shown here in this picture, you can select schedule and duplicate instead. And then you can just make minor tweaks before selecting the different platform that you want to use, like Instagram instead of Facebook, for example. Now we'll talk about how to best reach and engage your audience. Hashtags are a really, really great way to reach more people. You can easily search a keyword or phrase on Twitter or Instagram, and even Facebook, although it's not usually used as much. And you can find posts that are either most popular or most recently posted with that keyword or phrase using hashtags, which again, if you don't know, is just the number sign before a word or phrase. So this is a really great way to get your content in front of new people. For example, if you posted hashtag nature New Jersey or New Jersey nature pics, then people who are searching that hashtag would be shown your photo. You can use multiple hashtags in your posts, but you want to make sure that they all relate to what your post is so that someone stumbling upon it will actually want to know what the content is. Another way to reach and engage your audience is knowing what they like. So the first step to this is knowing who your target audience actually is in the first place and what reason you have for reaching them. So the best messages are the ones that your audience can connect with on a deeper level. So always be sure to identify who your audience is and think about why they should care about what you're posting, and then tailor your message to catch their attention and make them feel something. That's probably my biggest piece of advice. And then once you know that, you can make better informed decisions on which platform to use, because you'll know what content they might engage most with. So this is just an example of how hashtags work on different platforms. So the picture on the left shows what comes up when you search hashtag nature on Twitter, and the right is on Instagram. And you can just see that there's options to sort these different hashtags based on what's the top posts or the most popular, or you can search what's just the latest and most recent for both of these platforms. So lastly, we're going to talk about how you use insights to better reach and engage your target audience. So insights allow you to gauge which of your posts performed better or worse, and then track any goals or strategies that you created, and then maybe make an alteration based on this data to help increase reach and engagement. So each platform actually has its own insights section within it, which is really, really great, makes it really easy. This is a free and again, easy way to track your insights, although it can be a little bit somewhat limiting. Facebook has a separate page that's called Page Insights. So you can just navigate your way there to check out all the different insights Facebook has for you that are free. Twitter has a separate website for insights, which can be seen here. And then Instagram allows businesses or creator accounts to view some insights on the bottom of each post. And then if you click into, I believe it's post insights on Instagram below your post, you'll be able to open up a little bit more detail there as well. And that concludes my presentation on social media tools and engagement. Thank you.
Oops, I was trying to stop the recording. Just a second.